Inside of this inconspicuous Pelican case is the most specialized camera I own. What even is it, and why did I get it? For years, this tiny dot on my phone is how I've been turning real places into 3D. This is LiDAR, basically a laser that measures depth. You see, my iPhone is super convenient, but its accuracy and range, not so great. So I went looking for something better. And that's when this pro-level scanner showed up in the mail. It promises insane range and detail, but I'm not the type to buy into marketing hype. So let's see if it lives up to the hype. And at the end, I'll show you how this final scan turns into a finished point cloud animation. So now let's get started scanning with this thing. Today we're in the Lower East Side in Manhattan, and I got the 3D Maker Pro Eagle with me, and we're going to Freeman Alley to get a 3D scan with this thing. All right, so we're right by Freeman Alley. Picked this location because, yeah, it does have flat walls here, but there's a few things sticking out. Something just tripped on me. There's a few things sticking out, and I just want to see the level of accuracy with the scanner and also the range of it, because I scan stuff with my iPhone and the range for this is only 5 meters. Once you start getting to the higher floors, especially on those buildings right there where you have the railings, I want to see how far it can reach. Maybe it can reach all the way to the top, so we'll give that a try. Also, huge shout out to Damani, who's helping me behind the scenes with this video. A master of LiDAR cameras himself. He's done work for Green Juice, which I'm gonna put up on the screen right now. He did scans for that. I've also met Ruben Fro, that was responsible in that video. He did the point cloud work for it, but he's not here with us now. Yeah, Damani, let us know what you think about this camera right here.
Yeah, no, it looks really interesting. It's similar to another style of SLAM scanner that I'm using right now at work under contract with Amazon. So yeah, it looks like an impressive system. I'm interested to see how it performs today. So full time I'm scanning buildings, I've scanned warehouses, mostly industrial spaces right now. I'm in the AEC industry, but before that I was working in film. So I worked on a ton of movies, Penguin, Fallout, Ghostbusters.
Before we get started scanning, let's quickly go over the specs and take a closer look at this thing. This is the 3D Maker Pro Eagle, a handheld LiDAR scanner for big places. It captures up to 140 meters and spits out about 200,000 points a second. The LiDAR unit itself captures a 360 by 59 degree sweep, giving it wide continuous coverage. There's two versions of this camera. I got the Eagle Max. This upgraded variant trades a single 48 megapixel fisheye for 4, giving full color panoramic coverage, which I value a lot for the art I make. Now, iPhones handle close range scans fine, but point density and detail drop off fast with a hard cutoff at around 5 meters. They're great for quick captures and convenience, not for large spaces or long reach scans like the one I'm doing in this video. Now that you know the difference between scanning with something like an iPhone Pro that has a LiDAR sensor versus a professional LiDAR camera, let's continue with the rest of the video. If you get the scanner, make sure to lift this plastic protection off. So I'm gonna hit scan and we'll start. Okay, so now we're in the interface. It started to scan. Damani, let's go. By the way, you can see how stable I'm holding the scanner. The reason for that is that this scanner is using a technique called SLAM, which stands for simultaneous localization and mapping. While you're scanning, it shows on screen how much of an angle by how many degrees you are holding the scanner currently. If you do angle it a little bit too much, then it can result in some scanning drift and inaccuracy. You want to hold it as stable as possible. We're not working with iPhone LiDAR here where you could just wave your phone around and get point scans that way. With this type of scanner, you have to hold it very steady. Otherwise, you're gonna run into issues. And then one thing that's important for these SLAM scanners, it's not necessarily required, but it certainly does help a lot, is getting a thing called a loop closure. Off camera, we were figuring out how was the best way to scan this thing. Pretty much you don't want to cross over areas twice. So we got a specific path where we pretty much walked through the alley and made sure that we made it back to the end and just closed that loop so we get an accurate scan that has less drift. Because just the way the tech works, if you don't have loop closure and you're doing a pretty long scan, you will introduce drift over time. it isn't really a major amount of drift, but it does compound the longer the scan goes. This is my first time playing with a LiDAR scanner of this caliber, so thanks again to Damani for educating me about how these scanners work. You can also see in the video that we scanned some of the side areas as well, because we wanted the scan to be as complete as possible and to also see how well the scanner handles bigger scans. So I think that's a loop closer, right?
Yeah.
So I can stop scanning. So here's what we got on the screen. It's so you can move stuff around and you can see all the different points. You could see it did capture quite a few floors up, and you can see because this thing is limited to only 5 meters, it doesn't capture as high up as this scanner does. So this is far more complete coverage compared to this. You're kind of just stuck to ground level. So I'm back at the studio, and by studio I mean my small bedroom. How do we bring the data from here to my computer? And the way is, inside the package, it comes with this USB stick as well as an adapter. And once you connect it, it's a pretty tight fit. Once you have this, there's a port actually on the side of the unit. So once we open that, you can see right here, we have a port for power, which is to charge, and then a port for data. So just plug this guy in, turn the unit on. And once we have our scan, we want to tap on this tiny icon right here, this pencil icon, hit export, and then it will start exporting to this flash drive. I actually don't recommend doing it this way. There is a faster way, because if we go down here and take this latch off, we can actually see that there's a micro SD card right here. I'm gonna show in the meantime what software you use. You don't want JM Studio, we actually use Ray Studio. I'll have that link down below, but I already have it installed, so we'll just open it up. So it imported to the drive. I recommend taking the files from this drive and transferring them to some local drive on your computer, preferably an SSD. So that drive that we use to transfer from the device has a terribly slow write speed, but now that we're on the computer, it's much quicker. So when you first import all the files, you get a .bag file. But once you do processing from their software, you can check back at this folder. There's some useful stuff that you can use in here, such as an image sequence that came from each individual fisheye camera. But let's actually hop into the software now and process this point cloud data. So we want to hit open project and navigate to where we have this scan saved, and you want to select this folder that has a lot of numbers and hit select folder. So from these 4 options right here, to actually visualize the point cloud, you need to hit basic data. So point cloud solving, scenario type, we were outdoors, so I'm gonna hit outdoor. Auto loop will set to on, and I'm gonna check off resolve image, turn on generate mask, and click use GPU. From there, we hit start, and depending on your computer speed, this might take 5 to 20 minutes. All right, so processing just finished. You can see this is a massive point cloud, and just look at how much range we get with this. It's like a 15-story building in Manhattan, but it even scans stuff that I didn't intentionally want scanned. You see this alley right here? That's what I wanted scanned, but it scanned so much more. To view it better in the software, let's actually lower the point size and enable transparency. On the bottom right corner, it's 44 million points, which is a lot. So we just have the raw point data. It's blue. Where's the color? You gotta hit colorize. That's the next step. Scenario type, set to outdoor because we are outdoor, and I'll just leave everything else as default and hit start. And now it will shade the points. And while I was scanning this data, I did make a boo-boo, and I did overexpose when I was shooting with these cameras, because the color is derived from all of these individual cameras right here. So if you don't set the exposure correctly before you start scanning, everything might be blown out. I think the data here will be overexposed, but it will be salvageable. All right, so now from here, you can see that we actually have color data. So you wanna disable the recalculate result, and now we just see the color data. So lucky for us, it actually did capture correctly. I noticed that when you process color data, it actually gets rid of a few points. That's not a bug, it's a feature. I reached out to a rep from 3D Maker Pro and they told me that the color data, when you are converting it from just a LiDAR point cloud without color to a colored point cloud, it just uses the data from the front camera fisheye. If you want to make a Gaussian splat, there's an option for that, but I'm not making a Gaussian splat. And right now this point cloud is ready to export. But if you want to make a 3D model from this, you can click panorama stitching and this constructing net. I'm not going to go over this in detail. If you want to learn more about it, you could probably find some information on their forums online. So how do we import this point cloud data? You want to go to allcolor.pcd, click here, and then we can export. Because we're working with Blender, I recommend PLY, so I'm just gonna name it Freeman Alley. For whatever reason, the ply file wasn't opening properly in Blender. So as an intermediate, I'm just opening this point cloud in a software called Cloud Compare, which is free. And I'm just gonna convert it to a ply file from here. So just gotta click here, hit the save icon, and then we can just save it from here. So now from here in Blender, we drag and drop the ply file, hit import ply, and now we have the data inside Blender. Let's do my basic point cloud setup. So new geometry nodes, and we'll do mesh to points. And now we have the point cloud inside Blender. Last step is to add a set material and set it to material. Hop into rendered view, and let's actually bring the world shader. I'm gonna actually bring a sky texture. So if we go to the data properties and we go into color attribute, by default, the color attribute with pretty much all point cloud scans are call. Rarely it's named something else, but most of the time it's call. So you just need to plug it into the base color, maybe add an RGB curves node to it and bring it down. It's a great way to fix overexposure. And you can see it does look a lot more natural now. Very last thing, my signature look, I bring metallic up and roughness to 0.3. And from here, I'm not gonna do the rest on commentary. I'm just gonna work on a little point cloud piece and you'll see it up on the screen right now. So you can really see how I've taken a real world place, made a digital twin of it, brought it into the digital world and made an abstract point cloud piece from it. I just added a few additional effects on top, as well as some background effects and you know, whatever I come up with, because I didn't make it yet, so I'll see how it'll turn out. That being said, if you want to learn how to make point cloud animations like this from start to finish, I have a point cloud course that goes over the entire process, linked below. And if you already have the course or you want to take point clouds seriously, I also have the link for this scanner linked below. No money changed hands, they just sent me this product. I really needed a professional scanner. I asked them for it, they gave it to me, so I'm really thankful for 3D Maker Pro for sending me this unit. So now that you saw the finished animation and all the scanning that I've done with this camera, I wanted to do unscripted raw thoughts on if you should get this thing. So if you're just like me and you love point clouds, there's a night and day difference with this camera. That scan that I got of the alley, it managed to capture stuff up 20 or so floors, which honestly, I didn't expect that. I thought it would reach somewhere maybe to the 5th or 6th floor, but the range is just absolutely insane. And also the point accuracy. Also for size, it's not too bad. If you're pretty committed to scanning with LiDAR, you can pack this in a luggage, no problem. I mean, it comes in this huge Pelican case, but pretty much the only thing you need for scanning is this thing. Inside the Pelican case, it's mostly just adapters and power bricks and also the RTK unit, which I haven't used. So if you're doing something local, then might as well just use this case. But if you're doing something that's more involved, let's say traveling to another country, you could take the unit in a smaller bag like how I have been doing. Now, when it comes to what you can scan with this camera, I recommend using it to scan outdoor places in the daytime. I've noticed that with these cameras, I've tested it quite a bit before putting out this video, and I've done a few scans. It does struggle with indoor spaces that are dark. The low light isn't so great, but in fully lit or well lit locations, it's absolutely fantastic what kind of scans you can get out with this thing. Also, I took this camera through its paces for Gaussian splatting. And for some reason, the outputs I was getting through Ray Studio, the results weren't that great. I'm not sure why, because all the hardware to get great scans is already in this unit. I do hope that they introduce some more updates to the software that'll be able to make this camera even more powerful. That being said, despite the quirks that this LiDAR scanner has, it really is a night and day difference between what I can get out of my iPhone versus something like this. It's a welcome addition to the tools I use in my point cloud arsenal. If this scanner caught your eye, down below in the description, I have a link where you can see more information about this camera and where to get it. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of my own art. I also do a lot of content covering art and tech, as well as the occasional artist interview. So hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss out. You made it to the end of the video. I really want to hear what you guys thought about this one. So leave what you thought in the comments below. And if it's a question, I'll be sure to answer it. All right, I'm done talking about this thing. I'll see you in the next video.